Hello viewers and my students, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss 30 important MCQs from 2 Autumn, one of the most important odes of John Keats. This is set to watch the text and annotation of the poem, and also set 1, follow the links below or press the I button. So, let's start. Number 31. In set 1, up to 30 MCQs are explained. So, this set begins from 31. 2 Autumn was published in, the options are Annals of the Fine Arts, Endymion, Lamia, The Eve of St. Agnes. We know that 2 Autumn was written on 19 September 1819 and the poem was published in 1820 in Lamia volume. So the right option is C, Lamia. Next, 32. Think not of them. Here, them refers to the songs of, the options are summer, autumn, spring, nuts. This is from the third stanza or the last stanza, and the lines are: where are the songs of spring? Ah, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. So, here Keats assures that autumn has its own music. So, he assures not to think of the music of spring. So, the right option is C, spring, because Keats assures not to think of the song or music of spring because autumn has its own music which is no less beautiful and charming than that of the spring. So the right option is C. Next, 33. Or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. Here the poet speaks of the sound of, the options are gnats, lambs, swallows, redbreast. This line is from the last or third stanza, and the previous lines are: while bird clouds bloom the soft dying day and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue, and in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river shallows borne aloft. Or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. So here the poet speaks of the sound of obviously gnats, because the song or choir of the small gnats sings or borne aloft with the flow of the light wind. So the right option is A, gnats. Next, 34. Keats considers autumn as, the options are male, female, goddess, abstraction. We know that Keats personifies autumn as a female one, and in the opening stanza he considers autumn as the friend of the sun, and that's why he says conspiring with him how to load and blaze, and here we find fertility image because autumn is here imagined as a female and the sun as male one. And again in the second stanza he personifies autumn as a winnower, then reaper, then gleaner, and at last cider pressure. So throughout the poem autumn is personified as a female. So the right option is B, female, because Keats considers autumn as female. Next, 35. Conspiring with him how to load and blaze. Here we find the image of, the options are color, death, fertility, decay. This line is from the first stanza, and in the first stanza Keats says that autumn and the sun act in cooperation and they conspire or act in cooperation in order to load and blaze the vine creepers with fruits and also the other trees. So here we find obviously the image of fertility, because here autumn is imagined as female and the sun as male person. So the right option is C, fertility. Next, 36. Kids died in. The options are Dublin, Paris, London, Rome. We know that kids had some problem of consumption or lungs problem, and the doctor suggested him to avoid the winter of London, and that's why in 1820 he went to Italy with his faithful friend Joseph Severn, and there he died on 23rd February 1821. So kids died in obviously Rome or Italy. So the right option is D, Rome. And Dublin, we know Dublin is the capital of Ireland. Then Paris, the capital of France, and London, we know the capital of England, and Rome, the capital of Italy. So kids died in Italy. So the right option is D, Italy, because kids died and was buried in Italy or Rome. Next, 37. The most cottage trees. These are the trees of. The options are grapes, apple, gourd, oak. This is from the first stanza, and the other lines are: to bend with apples the most cottage trees, and fill all fruit to its ripeness to the core. So, to bend with apples the most cottage trees. So, these are the trees of obviously apple. So, the right option is B, apple. Next, 38. Kids visualizes natural objects like the dash poets. The options are French, Greek, Russian, Indian. We know that Keats is noted for Hellenism and also sensuousness, and like the Greek or classical poets, he visualizes natural objects. So, Keats imitates the Greek poets. So, the right option is B, because Keats visualizes natural objects like the Greek poets. Next, 39. Close bosom friend of the maturing sun. This line is an instance of. The options are personification, climax, innuendo, simile. Personification, we know, in a personification, nature, an inanimate object or an abstraction is invested with the attribution of a living being. For example, the earth felt the wound, and also opportunity knocks at the door. Then climax. In a climax, a series of words or ideas is arranged in an ascending order of importance so that the most important one comes last. For example, we dream alone, we suffer alone, we die alone. And again, he lost his all, his wealth, health and life. Then, innuendo. In an innuendo, something is hinted instead of being plainly stated. The purpose is to damage one's character or reputation. For example, he has been treated by 4 doctors, but he is still alive. And again, my friend left my house and the pen was missing. Then, simile. In a simile, an explicit comparison is made between 2 different things or objects or ideas, and the point of similarity is made explicit by the words as like. For example, she looks like a sheep, and again, the child shows the man as morning shows the day. And this line, close bosom friend of the maturing sun. This is an example of obviously personification. Why personification? Because here the sun and the autumn both are personified, and both are considered intimate friends or close friends, because Autumn is the intimate friend of the sun or close friend of the sun. And this line is from the first stanza, and here Keats means to say that both the sun and autumn act in cooperation in order to load and bless the trees with various kinds of fruits and flowers. So the right option is A, personification. Next, number 40. And in a wailful choir, the small gnats mourn. This line echoes Keats's another work named, the options are Isabella, Endymion, Hyperion, Lamia. This line is from the last or third stanza, and here Keats speaks of the music of autumn, and we know that the music of autumn is comprised of the sounds of various insects, animals and birds. And in this context, he says that the small gnats mourn in a wailful choir, and here we find sound effect and also a melancholy note, and the same idea is expressed in his another work named Endymion, and in Endymion he uses the term a wailful gnat. So here we find a wailful choir, and in Endymion he says a wailful gnat. So the right option is B, Endymion. Next, number 41. Keats's To Autumn contains dash stanzas. The options are 4, 2, 3, 5. We know that To Autumn has total 3 stanzas, and each stanza contains 11 lines. So the poem has total 33 lines. So the right option is C, 3, because the poem has 3 stanzas. And the first stanza highlights the greenness and ripeness of autumn, and in the second stanza he personifies autumn as a winnower, then reaper, then gleaner and cider pressure. And the last stanza highlights the music or sounds of autumn. So the right option is C. Next, 42. Now with treble soft. Here Keats speaks of the sound of, the options are gnat, lamb, swallow, redbreast. This is from the last stanza. The lines are, and now with treble soft the redbreast whistles from a garden cropped. So here Keats speaks of the sound of obviously redbreast or robin redbreast. So the right option is D, robin redbreast, because the redbreast whistles from a garden cropped with treble soft. Next, 43. Keats composed To Autumn in, the options are 1819, 1818, 1817, 1820. We know that To Autumn was composed on 19 September 1819 in the course of the poet's evening walk on a Sunday near Winchester. So the right option is A, 1819, and the poem was published in 1820 in Lamia. Next, 44. Who hath not seen thee oft amid the stow? Rhetorically, this is an example of, the options are interrogation, hypeles, zeugma, pan. Interrogation, we know, in an interrogation, a question is raised, but the answer is implied within the very question. For example, if you poison us, do we not die? And again, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So, here the answer is implied within the very question. And then hypeles or transferred epithet. In a hypeles, the epithet or adjective is transferred from its proper place to another associated with it. For example, I passed a busy life, and again the ploughman homeward plods his weary way. Then zeugma. In a zeugma, two nouns are connected by a single verb, although each of which requires a separate one. For example, the moment and the vessel passed. And again, to stain her honor or her new brocade. Then pan, in a pan, there is the duplicity of sense or meaning under the unity of sound. For example, his knowledge about sound is really sound. And again, a leopard can change spots but cannot change its spots. And the line, who hath not seen thee oft amid thy stove. This is an example of obviously interrogation. Why interrogation? Because here a question is raised, but the answer to this question, that is, everyone has seen thee or autumn amid the stove or occupation, is implied within the very question. So the right option is A, interrogation. Next, 45. The rhyme scheme of the opening stanza of To Autumn is, the options are ABAB, CDDCC, then ABAB, CDDCE, then ABAB, CDCDDE, then ABAB, CDCDE. We know that To Autumn consists of 3 stanzas and each stanza has 11 lines. And the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is ABAB, CD, DCC, and the second and the last stanzas have the same rhyme scheme, that is ABAB, CD, CDDE. So the opening stanza or first stanza has the rhyme scheme ABAB, CD, DCC. So the right option is A. Next, 46. Autumn is described as a season of vegetation, fullness and ripeness in the dash stanza or stanzas. The options are last, first, second, first and last. We know that the first stanza describes autumn in its aspects of vegetation, ripeness and fullness. And in the second stanza, Keats personifies autumn as a winnower, then reaper, then gleaner, and at last cider pressure. And in the last stanza, Keats exhibits the music or sounds of autumn. So, autumn is described as a season of vegetation, fullness and ripeness, obviously in the first stanza. So, the right option is B, first stanza. Next, 47. To load and blaze with fruit. Here fruit means the options are apple, orange, grape, gourd. This is from the first stanza or the opening stanza, and the other lines are conspiring with him how to load and blaze with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run. So with fruit, obviously the vine or vine creepers. So here fruit means obviously grapes. So the right option is C, grape. Next, 48. Keats at first personifies autumn as the options are cider pressure, gleaner, reaper, winnower. We know that in the second stanza, Keats personifies autumn as a winnower, then reaper, then gleaner, and at last cider pressure. So autumn is first personified as a winnower. Because we find the line, sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. So Keats at first personifies autumn as a winnower. So the right option is D, winnower. Next, 49. To Autumn is the dash and the most perfect of Keats's odes. The options are first, second, third, last. We know that Ode to Autumn is the last and the most perfect of Keats's odes, and it was written on September 19, 1819 and was published in Lamia in 1820. So the right option is D, last, because To Autumn is the last and the most perfect of Keats's odes. Next, number 50. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep Rhetorically, this is an example of. The options are zeugma, synecdoche, bathos, simile. Zeugma, we know, in a zeugma, two nouns are connected by a single verb, although each of which should have a separate verb. For example, the movements and the vessels passed. Here two nouns, that is the movement and the vessels, are connected with one verb, though each of them require a separate one. And again, would hide her wrongs and revenge. And herein also two nouns are connected by a single verb. Then synecdoche. In a synecdoche, the name of one thing is substituted for that of another intimately associated with it. For example, India won the match. And again, beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes. Then bathos or anticlimax. In an anticlimax, a series of words or ideas is arranged in a descending order of importance so that the least important one comes last. For example, she lost her husband, her child and her handkerchief. And again, forget her prayer or marks read. Then simile. In a simile, an explicit comparison is made between two different things or objects or ideas. The point of similarity is made explicit by the words as and like. For example, the girl is like a rose. And again, I wander lonely as a cloud. And the line, and sometimes like a gleaner thou dost keep. This is from the second stanza, and here autumn is personified as a gleaner, because we know that in the second stanza autumn is personified as a winnower, reaper, gleaner and cider pressure, and through this line autumn is personified as a gleaner. And here the comparison between autumn and a gleaner is made explicit by the word like. So herein we find an explicit comparison between two different things, that is autumn and a gleaner, and the point of similarity is made explicit by the word like. So this is an example of simile. So the right option is D, simile. Next, 51. Until they think warm days will never cease. They refers to. The options are bees, the reapers, the farmers, none of this. And this question was selected in WBSLST 2016, both in 9, 10 and 11, 12 levels. And this line is from the first stanza, and here they refers to obviously the bees, because the bees are deceived and they think that summer is still continuing, because summer is associated with flowers which the bees get in plenty in autumn. So the right option is A, the bees. Next, 52. The redbreast whistles from. The options are the sky, a garden cropped, hilly burn, river shallows. Keats mentions redbreast or robin redbreast in the last stanza, and the last stanza contains the music or sounds of autumn, and this music is made by the sounds of various animals, birds and insects. And about robin redbreast, the poet says, and now with treble soft the redbreast whistles from a garden cropped. So the redbreast whistles from obviously a garden cropped. So the right option is B, a garden cropped. Next, 53. He was a Greek. This remark highlights Keats's. The options are symbols, subjectivity, Hellenism, allusion. And we know that this remark was made by Shelley, another romantic poet, and he made this remark due to Keats's use of Hellenism, because in Keats's poetry we find Greek elements or classical elements. So this line highlights obviously Keats's Hellenism. So the right option is C, Hellenism. Next, 54. Generally autumn is considered as a season of. The options are beauty, charm, flowers, ugliness. We know that autumn is generally considered an ugly season, but in this poem, Keats celebrates autumn in its glory and beauty. So the right option is D, ugliness, because autumn is generally considered as an ugly season or a season of ugliness. Next, 55. Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find. Here the poet speaks of. The options are music, flower, autumn, the sun. This line is from the second stanza, and the lines are, who hath not seen thee oft amid the stow? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee. Thee means obviously autumn, because autumn is personified or addressed. So the right option is C, autumn. Because whoever seeks abroad or the open air outside may find autumn in her occupations or activities. That is, activities as a winnower, reaper, gleaner, and also cider pressure. Next, 56. Keats explores the music of autumn in the options are first stanza, second stanza, third stanza, last two stanzas. We know that Ode to Autumn has total 3 stanzas, and the first stanza describes autumn in its aspects of vegetation, ripeness and fullness, and in the second stanza Keats personifies autumn as a winnower, reaper, gleaner, and also as a cider pressure. And in the last stanza Keats highlights the music or sounds of autumn. So the right option is C, third stanza, because the third stanza contains or explores the music or sounds of autumn. So the right option is C. Next, 57. As a winnower, autumn sits on a. The options are granary flow, furrow, bench, cider pressure. Autumn is personified as a winnower in the second stanza, and Keats says, sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. So autumn sits on a granary floor. So the right option is A, granary floor, because as a winnower, autumn sits on a granary floor. Next, 58. While dash clouds bloom, fill in the blank. The options are deep, bird, dense, fleecy. This line is from the last or third stanza, and the full line is, while bird clouds bloom the soft dying day. So the right option is B, bird, because the poet says, while bird clouds. Bird means looking like birds or white lines of fleece like clouds. So the right option is B. Next, 59. Or on a half-ripped furrow. The word furrow actually means, the options are land, road, plowed land, corn. This line is from the second stanza, and the other lines are, or on a half-ripped furrow sound asleep. That is, autumn is here personified as a reaper, and autumn falls asleep while reaping the corn. And the word furrow, it means here land, but the actual meaning of the word is plowed land. So the right option is C, plowed land. But in this poem or in this context, the word furrow means land, but actual meaning is plowed land. So the right option is C, plowed land. Next, number 60, last one. To Autumn is a poem of dash lines. The options are 30, 31, 32, 33. We know that To Autumn has total 3 stanzas, and each stanza contains 11 lines. So the poem has total 33 lines. So the right option is D, 33. So completed all the questions.